August 12th, 2013. I'm Darko. My YouTube channels are ddarko2012 and ddarko2013, and my website is Global Government News, GGNonline.net. They should keep an eye on it, though. One person said, by the way, hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 6. I'm pretty sure it's the final part for today, for Monday, August 12th, 2013. I'm Darko. My YouTube channels are ddarko2012 and ddarko2013, and my website is Global Government News, GGNonline.net. But I'm a little unsure about that because I have access to it, like I said in the first video, but some viewers are claiming that it's been hacked, so they're getting sent to Forklift and all kinds of other businesses. Scientists, FDA, say they don't worry about radioactive fish. Alaska fishermen and fish consumers shouldn't be concerned about the new disclosures of radioactive water leaking into the Pacific Ocean near the Fukushima nuclear plant, according to an ocean chemist and spokeswoman for the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The amount of radioactive material flowing into the ocean is relatively minimal compared to the size of spills that occurred in the wake of the meltdowns that occurred at the site in 2011 following the earthquake and tsunami. They said they should keep an eye on it, though. One person said, by the way, it's still spilling or leaking into the ocean. We just covered that. As the person said, good old FDA. Now they act as a spokesperson and public relations outlet for any corporation with sales to protect. And we'll get into that, sales to protect. The kind of covert corporate warfare that's taking place behind the scenes. Rich and poor have different toxins in their bodies. It's sushi and sunscreen versus cigarettes. It might be the weirdest indicator of wealth or lack thereof. To me, this just goes to show you that those that think that they're, people say, well, why would the rich do this to the poor? Chemtrails and all that. Wouldn't they be subject to it too? And for the most part, yeah. I mean, if you think about how 1% of the population is running the 99% of the entire planet's population, it just goes. I would say run it. It manages them mostly through mind control means. People self-policing, teaching them to love their enslavement and to police themselves. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. But you're talking about how 99%, yeah, they're not exempt from this stuff. It's just different types, right? So according to new studies spotted by courts, it says rich people tend to have greater levels of things such as mercury and arsenic, probably because they eat more sushi and fancy shellfish. They also show higher levels of the main ingredient in sunscreen, oxybenzone, perhaps because they're more likely to slather it on and spend some time at the beach on their boats. So see, they trust it, right? They trust the FDA that the seafood doesn't have high levels of mercury, and they trust that, hey, you don't want skin cancer, right? So you better slap on that sunscreen that has a bunch of chemicals that's going to soak into the biggest, organ of your body, your skin, which absorbs that. So, and these same people then go to get radiated and take all kinds of chemicals, chemo and that. Said that lower income people have the market on toxins of their own. Their worst was lead and cadmium, which the study chalked up to higher levels of smoking among the poor. They also have higher levels of BPA, the toxin sometimes found in plastic food containers and cans. A clear difference in income groups surprised even researchers. It's interesting, BPA, it makes you wonder when you're poor, everybody goes to Walmart and all that plastic crap, even in cars, a lot of plastic, but I guess once you get up to the higher, in kitchen, a lot of plastics, but once you get up to, up in the tax bracket, things become, instead of plastic, you're having marble, and instead of linoleum and stuff, you have tile, just things made of better quality. BMWs, it's a lot of it is leather, vice plastic. Rich people have different toxins than the rest of us. You can go in there and basically type in that, and you'll find out a little bit more information on it. This comes directly from Salon originally. Why are American drinkers turning against beer? So this is the actual thing, the poll here. So just 20 years ago, it was America's most popular alcoholic beverage by far. Since then, per capita consumption of beer down 20% despite population growth. Annual domestic production has fallen down too. From 1992, you have beer up here at 47, dropping down to 36, wine at 27, up to 35, and liquor started at 21, now at 23, so not much change. So beer slipped by 20 percentage points since the early 90s. Young drinkers and non-white drinkers saw the steepest falls in beer preferences In other words, the fastest growing segments of the country are also running fastest away from brews. Talking about beverages in general, bottled water exploded, tea is up, soft drinks, beer, and juice not so much. That's another thing too, bottled water, right? BPA. But it says here that you're seeing the consumers taking a healthier look and having more alternatives. So they said here that it doesn't explain why Americans would turn against light beer. Me personally, I think it tastes like urine, but it dominates the market still. Yeah, Bud Light and all that. It says lower class white guys are getting crushed. Think of the cheap beer sales as a health indicator for blue collar America, especially for men. Joe Sixpack, that's what they call him. Look at the chart at the top of the story again. Beer dips after 2000 in recession, then begins to recover. Then beer preference falls again after the Great Recession, where the hardest hit industries, construction and manufacturing, were blue-collar male industries. Pretty interesting. Light beer sales fell for 3 years at the recession and only bounced back in 2012 due to the resurgence of craft beer. They say taste just changed. I don't think that's the case. Wine is delicious and affordable, and Americans only recently realized that. Beer is a concept that goes all the way back to Rome. It goes back to just the peasants in general. It's what rulers allowed the serfs and the peasants to have. It helped basically because a lot of them were thin and they were starving and they were malnutrition. So beer actually, just like grog on ships in the Navy and British Navy and that, they encouraged it because it actually filled their stomachs up and made them feel full, but it also, from getting that buzz, it prevented them from revolting. So I guess my kind of theory or point here is that as the income inequality gap keeps going wider and wider, there's the haves and have-nots. And, those people that were kind of in the middle class are now maybe making a little bit more. And then there's people that are in the upper middle class, millionaires, that are no longer millionaires. And, the people that have made it, that have done it, I've seen in my own family, the people, I grew up in lower middle class, and, they're all up in their middle upper class. I'm not saying I am, by no means, but they are. And they don't really care about anybody else but themselves and their bank account. And they do admire this elite. They admire the elitist society. Their big goal is to become incorporated. Ooh, I'm incorporated now, right? I have hardly any liability now. It's all about becoming corporatized and fancier cars. Like I said, you can see it in society. Everything's pushing for more elitist. Americans, not obsessed, but the big thing about the royal baby and stuff. So that could be one of the reasons why they try, to switch the wine away from beer. But it could just be like microbreweries that kind of popped up in the last 5 to 10 years. I'm talking about a lot of them in New England, but microbreweries, ales and that. And also you have wines. I've seen that too. People are making their own wines and bottling it and selling it. So that could be just another reason. Non-alcoholic beer sales are booming worldwide. And it says here, across most of the world, the consumption of alcohol is falling. Some places the trend is most marked among the young, which is weird because the young are doing some crazy-ass stuff as far as to get high. It's just insane, the crap that they're doing and taking. In Britain 10 years ago, I know most of them are pharmaceutically drugged up. That could be another reason. In Britain 10 years ago, 70% of 16 to 24-year-olds claimed to have had a drink in previous weeks, where in 2010, just 48% had. Many Western teenagers are playing on game consoles or chatting on Facebook rather than illicitly swigging cider in the park. So I guess that means how their social skills have changed too. But alongside this trend, which is not universal with many Eastern European countries such as Russia and Moldova glugging away, another has appeared. Last year, 2.2 billion liters of non-alcoholic beer were drunk, 80% more than 5 years earlier. Say one of the biggest ones is the Middle East, accounts for a third of worldwide sales of non-alcoholic beer. And then we have connections between Michael Hastings, Edward Snowden, and Barrett Brown, the war with the security state. So at the time of his death in a mysterious one-car crash and explosion, journalist Michael Hastings was researching the story that threatened to expose powerful entities and government-connected figures. That story intersected with the work of two controversial government critics, the hacker Barrett Brown and the on-the-run surveillance whistleblower Edward Snowden. Any probe into Hastings' untimely death needs to take into account this complex but essential background. I liked what someone said in the comment board. It says the article shows to me that the contractors are fighting each other over who can do what with data they manage to accumulate and conjecture their conclusions from. They murder those who do not like their game. It says Brown is like another Bradley Manning. Anyone who punches a hole in the data stream story must die. So in the last couple of years, you've seen stories like these with these fast food chains. Taco Bell firing its taco shell licking employee from June 2013. And other stories like this. We'll just go through them. It's June 23rd, 2013. Subway employees flawlessly demonstrate how to get fired with super disgusting photos. So the sandwich artist, I guess he made like a phallus out of it. So Burger King and frozen urine. A Burger King crowns worker unemployed after photo scandals. This is from August the 2nd. So he was basically fired for posting a photo of himself kicking it on a sack of buns next to a bucket of mystery slop. And this was in Japan. Burger King employee. Burger King's been hit the most. And what I'm saying here is this the same type of corporate warfare? Do these people actually work for Burger King? Is this just a made-up stunt by other corporations competing against each other? Because there's not much competition amongst them. So I'd imagine they do some pretty fierce, crappy stuff, you know? Or do these people come to get paid from these different corporations? And go in there and do this stuff to discredit them. Burger King employee stands on lettuce and busted by the internet. Remember this? The woman that bites in her Burger King hamburger finds razor blades. Burger King, like I said, they've had a lot of crap. KFC fires employee for licking mashed potatoes from February 2013. Then this recent one from July 30th, giant Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket turns up in Georgia woman's yard. This was great publicity for Kentucky Fried Chicken. It could have been put there by them. You know, especially since they have to rebrand their name, you know, Kentucky Fried Chicken. They had to put KFC because people were saying that, you know, according to law, that it's not actual real chicken. So they called it KFC. Then, of course, that order ended. So that they call it Kentucky Fried Chicken again. Most people didn't notice that. Michigan boy finds piece of finger in Arby's sandwich from May of 2012. Wendy's Revenge 2005 finger and chili hoaxer is behind bars. So there's these people like that. They're just trying to make a quick buck. It's kind of comical, though. Wendy's employee caught guzzling a Frosty. And that was 2 months ago. Domino's employee video taints food and brand, putting cheese in his nose and blowing mucus on a sandwich. This is just today. Domino's Pizza responds to compliment with apology. So someone actually said, best pizza ever, Pan Pizza. Keep up the good work, guys. And they actually wrote Domino's response, sorry about that. And they put an automated response because they're so used to bad publicity. Some rapid fire here at the end. Baby has randomly gone up in flames 4 times. Doctors say he suffers from spontaneous human combustion. Place in India. Russian man swims across the Black Sea. He started when he wanted to help his back, you know, basically swimming. But now he's actually doing this 400 kilometers, resting at night in an inflatable boat. And he's considering traveling along the Volga, the Europe's biggest river. 3,600 kilometers. So the Haarp status for North America, current long wave frequency magnitude readings. In the Pacific Northwest, we have low, medium to moderate. Down there in the South and Midwest, you have pretty much low. We just had what appeared to me to be a real storm that kind of just came and went, not just 12 hours of chem rain. Then in Europe and the UK, the biggest is in the UK and Northwest Europe, maybe Germany. Then to Australia, you have Southeast Australia being hit pretty hard, and it looks like, what, New Zealand? George Lucas and wife Melody Hobson welcome baby girl via surrogate. So we covered this before. Designer babies move closer to reach with new IVF gene screening technology. So it's not just for abnormalities and chromosomes and stuff. They could theoretically elect for traits like sex, hair color, eye color, projected height, and this is for people who can pay for it. Kind of funny but sad. Rush for butt injections cause desperate women to be maimed with silicone and cement mix. They actually, girls get together to have pumping parties, becoming growing underground illegal activity. North Dakota's last abortion facility owner accepts award from the Revolutionary Communist Party members. Yes, Time magazine asks, who needs kids anyways? Time, the child-free life, when having it all means not having children. So as the American birth rate has literally never been lower in recorded history. Some of the women in the article had regret. They keep a baby box of like basically stuff from when their kids were kids Her explanation is that the box is the indulgence of a life I have to grieve. If we decide to have children, we'd have to grieve the life we currently have. London School of Economics has begun to present scholarships asserting that more intelligent women are, the less likely they are to become mothers. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.